So tell us about Mike Falzone. Who is Mike Falzone?
Oh, God. Can you listen to one of the other podcasts to get the backstory?
No, we want to keep the audience here.
I should be able to work out the quickest version of this by now. But I was always a artistic boy, never good in school. I was a musician for a long time. So I grew up in Connecticut, southern Connecticut, and I was a musician. I put my music on whatever was like the coolest technology / means to get it to people who weren't, the 15 people that were showing up to my shows, my friends and family or whatever. So mp3.com was like really big.
MP3, yeah, I remember mp3.com.
Yeah, that was really
important. Huge.
That was the first one where you can kind of like upload your song and then see how many people played it.
Yeah.
And that was such like a huge thing. Like, 400 people listen to this song, but I've never played for more than like 20 people at an open mic,
Yeah.
So that was the first means of like little taste of getting things out to a broader audience. And then MySpace showed up. So that was like mp3.com on,
steroids, yeah. With profile and pics.
Yeah. You can have a little bit more fun. You can interact with your fan base and stuff like that. And then when YouTube came out in 2006, I started uploading stuff there for the same reason. It was just another way to get it out to everyone. And it was obviously a more visual medium. So I could start making, music videos and stuff like that, or as time progressed, doing covers of more popular songs and showing up in searches. And I remember the first time I did a cover of a song and it got like 20, 30,000 whatever. I was like, oh, this is how I get new people to hear the music that I wrote.
Right.
Maybe if I play this Adele cover, they'll go back and they'll find my mp3.com page and then I could watch those numbers
spike up.
So I just did that for a long time. And then for whatever reason, I started talking to the camera, making kind of like satirical advice videos. I think the first one was how to find true love today. And it was, there was some good,
YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was some good advice in there, but it was mostly like why. The thing that I found most in any kind of like my peers and stuff was everyone wanted to be like in the best possible relationship right now, but no one wanted to work for it. So I was like, okay, I'll make a video. This is perfect. Love is easy. You can find it anywhere. Here we go.
Right. And then they made a whole business out of your post called Tinder. Yeah. You're actually the founder of Tinder. That's why you're here.
And I've seen no money from any of it. So then that kind of, I think what happened from there is people would start sending me questions to answer like that. And then that happened for a while at the same time as music. So I was doing covers and like fun advice or fun list type videos at a time where not a lot of people were doing that at all. Maybe this is like 2000. I don't know. I'm bad at that to go back. I could tell you where I was living, but I couldn't tell you what year it was.
Yeah.
And then when I was 26, I got real sick and I went to the hospital twice. I almost died in the hospital.
What?
Twice. Yeah, like within 2 weeks of each other. So after that, I always, I was still a musician. I loved doing the video stuff and I loved finding and building this audience, and I was getting into comedy a little bit. And I started taking the advice things a little bit more seriously. Like it was all kind of tongue in cheek, and it was all like they were definitely comedy videos. Mm-hmm. But my mission statement from like then on out up until today is like, when I was in the hospital, you figure out that, you're kind of just this, you're in this vessel, you're whatever you are, but you're just in this body, and wherever your body doesn't want to go, if your body wants to stop working, you're out, and there are limitations. And I was like, it sounds kind of morbid, but I'm like, one day I'm going to go back into the hospital and I'm not going to be lucky enough to come out. So if I could use this audience and try to make them laugh and have a good time, and most importantly, if I could be funny and save people some time, that's all I wanted to do. So that's kind of I have a ton of videos like, you know, what to do about this, and like answering all these relationship questions, and giving advice from things that I had kind of personal contact with in my life. That was my rule, is I would never talk out of my ass or talk about things that I didn't know about. But if I could say something that I've learned in my 26, 27 years that could save you sometime, I would, you know.
With a comedic twist.
Yeah.
Like
I'll try to be fun. Try not to be boring about it.
Yeah. Condense lifetime of knowledge down to like 3 small things. Was it lung related?
It was, one of them was, I had a, so my appendix burst on the operating table, and that's bad. That's like breaking a little bag of poison inside of you. So I got a sepsis of my entire body, essentially. So it's basically like poison spreading throughout your entire body, and I was hooked up to all these IVs. And for a week or 2, I was just like tethered to a hospital bed by IVs, and that was terrible.
Wow.
During that time, I got kidney stones a couple times. That was fun. And then when I finally went home, I had difficulty breathing one day, and I called up the hospital, and I was like, I have a fever and I can't breathe. What's happening? They're like, you might have a blood clot, so we want you to come in. So I came in, and they checked me out, and I had a pulmonary embolism, which is a blood clot that ends in your lungs. And when that happens, there's only a couple places for a blood clot to go, and if it goes to an end organ like your lungs or your heart or whatever, your
brain, probably, right?
Or your brain, you're dead. So I was back on IVs and intravenous blood thinners, and then I was on blood thinners for like a year and a half after that. And then I've been trying to be funny since then.
Yeah. I mean, that'll make you be funny.
Yeah. It was a lot of, it was traumatic and it was hard and everything, but, you know, a lot of people have been through harder shit. But I always just use that as it's good motivation. It was my main motivation for moving out here from Connecticut.
Connecticut? Oh, wow. You and Matty Chimber.
Yeah. Which I didn't meet until out here, but we would have been friends back home. He's a lot like a lot of my friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We have a similar way about us where we're like, we'll give everyone a hard time, and it would be nice to have friends, but if it doesn't happen, that's okay.
Honestly, you just described him exactly.
Yeah,
a friend is fine. If not, I'm totally good.
Yeah. So I think the first time I met him, it was at a Heavy Lolo show, and that's a real late night show.
Yeah. Bar Lubitsch.
Yeah. It's an awesome place. Every Tuesday, if you ever have
right. 11:30 p.m. if you get lost.
Right, if you don't have a job, that's a good show to go to if you don't have a job. And we were ranking on each other from stage before we even knew each other. So
nice.
That was like forever friends now. But yeah, man, just if I wanted to do this thing, whether it be music or comedy or whatever, I was like, well, life is short, and I'm going to give myself the best possible shot at it. So it's harder to do it from Connecticut than it is out here. So I moved out here. I've been out here for 7 years.
7 years. Look at you. So 2012.
Ish.
Yeah. Nice. And you are married.
I'm married.
You might be the first married guest I've had on.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, other than myself.
Right. Well, you're on every episode.
I'm the married host. Yeah.
I like being married. Do you like being married?
I like being married.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's, I think you live longer.
Probably, right? Because at the very least, you have someone to take you to the hospital when shit gets all fucked up.
Right.
Yeah.
But you don't need that, right?
I do.
That's not you do, but.
Dude, I had kidney stones again last June, I think, or 2 Junes ago. And it was, dude, I was like incapacitated. I was like throwing up. Zoya threw me in a car. And at one point, I was like, pull over, and I fell out of the car, and I was like on my hands and knees vomiting on the street. Yeah. And I was like, dude, thank God I have a wife or somebody that likes me this much.
Right.
I don't know how I would have gotten to the hospital that day.
You do need someone. Maybe she should be here right now with us.
She should be here all the time.
Just in case.
That's what my medical alert necklace says.
Call my wife.
Yeah, I'm in trouble.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And you guys might be having kids?
I mean, I don't know, man. We talk about it all the time. We said last month we're going to revisit it in 6 months and make a decision. So I think she's going to be an awesome mother. You've heard me do my bits.
Yes, I love the bits.
Thank you so much. I'm starting to get some good ones out of.
Oh yeah, you got some good kid bits. Yeah, I feel like I'm always the only one doing the kid stuff.
Right? Yeah, I'll try to catch up.
Yeah, try to catch up. Yeah.
But she's gonna be great. It's just me, man. I don't wanna be bad. all that stuff. That's another thing with comedy. It's like you work so hard and you do all these jokes that you realize are trash a year or so afterwards. And then everyone tells you, all the good comedians are like, you find your voice and you start to tell the audience who you are through how you feel about things and your point of view and your perspective. And I was like, I always wanted to do that and move in that direction. But now I feel like it's really kind of taking the heavier stuff that you talk about. I feel like your point of view really starts to come out and take shape and stuff like that.
Do you feel you have your point of view?
I always say like I've been saying I'm almost there for
right.
Like
You
the
probably,
last 3 years.
you're always probably finding it more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I realize, I record everything and I watch and I listen to everything back, as painful as it is sometimes.
Painful.
But I do feel like those type of jokes, like I don't know if I want to have a kid jokes or the ones about me potentially screwing up a kid. Those are my favorite right now.
Yeah, those are good ones.
I think they tell the audience the most about you in the smallest amount of time.
Absolutely. Well, here's I don't know you that well. We probably know each other like a year, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe less.
We see each other a lot, but we really don't know each other at all. Thank you for letting me into your home.
Yeah. Now I have to move and change the locks.
I'm going to take a lot of stuff.
Shit, my shoes. So my perspective on who Mike Falzone is he's a guy who's everywhere. Like I see you're at the Marquee on the Laugh Factory, the Improv. You're on YouTube. You're at the Oyster Bar. And you took over Sarah's show.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fascinating to me. You're on posting all the time. Everyone. Everyone likes you. It's a hard thing you're taking photos.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's nice, man. I just like making stuff.
Yeah.
I like making stuff, and I know how to treat people, and I know, I don't know. It's very...
Being likable is important.
It's being likable, but not in like a put on type of a way. It's
no.
I know what I have a hard time putting up with, even as a detriment, like to my career. Like I'm not as good at networking all the time, because if I sense that you're not being authentic, I zone out right away. And then I have this other thing, which is bad, that if I get the feeling, dude, this is bad. If I get the feeling that you don't think I'm smart, not like scientist smart, but if I think that you could put one over on me.
Oh, like talk down to you?
I will you're out.
Yeah.
And that's ruined business relationships.
Do you mean like they think you're dumb, so they talk down to you, or they're trying to like monkey off of you to get like through you to something else?
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
Both of those things are common. I would say the second is more common. People they're like just... Actually, Vanessa, when I did the Jamie and Vanessa Dynasty episode, she had a really good term for this called reckless networking.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Like when you're going out there and you're just like trying to get stuff out of people instead of playing like the long game. Yeah. Which is just be cool.
Just be cool and be good. Spend all your time. Stop trying to like figure out how you come off to people and just be really good. Because I've never gotten further faster than when people I respect and admire think I'm good.
Right.
Because then, like with stand up, for example, it's like you come off the stage and you do really well. Everyone is either small group of people is jealous and they stay away, and then a bigger group of people is like, oh, what's up with this guy? I want to be friends with this person.
Or why don't you let's do this thing together?
Yeah.
Because everything you get in comedy is from other comedians.
Yes, that's a great point.
So you gotta be cool, play the long game, and be undeniable is really important, and things will start to happen for you.
Yeah,
and maybe sometimes the guy who's more of a networker will get ahead in the short term.
Short term, for sure.
He might pull ahead, or he or she might pull ahead of you in the short term.
Because it does work.
Yeah, it does.
I've seen people who don't have the whatever to back it up that are just really good at conversation and will show up when and where they got to show up.
Yeah.
And then, but when it comes time for people to like either deliver in the pinch or, when the pressure's on or whatever, and you don't have the chops to back it up, I've seen them kind of.
Yeah. I have also seen the people with the chops who are so good who do zero networking, and that's also not a good mix.
For sure. And I think I'm more towards that group than I am the other one.
Yeah. I think 80-20 is like a good balance. 80% be good, 20% marketing, networking.
Yeah. Or even if you could sneak 30 in there, that'll
30?
help you a lot.
Yeah. 30's pretty good too.
I'm not there, but I aspire to be 30%.
It's all just, unquantifiable things. It's more of an energy and a vibe. And I mean, it's hard to get shows every night in LA without hitting people up.
You're right.
I struggle with it. I'm like, fine, I'll hit this person up.
Dude, it's also an ego thing. Like stand up, it's why it's so important to bomb. Like even in casual conversation, like as long as you're being genuine and you bomb and you learn from that, there's always a benefit.
Yeah.
But you gotta I see so many people, they'll have a couple good shows and they'll be like, oh, I'm sick of asking for shows. I don't want to do that anymore. And then they stop and then you just don't have shows for a month or 2 months,
Well, you don't have shows in 3 months because LA is like a 2-month out town,
Yeah.
So it's like if you let off the gas now, your May is screwed,
Yeah, 100%.
I bombed at the Oyster House.
Everybody bombs at the Oyster House.
Yeah,
everyone bombs at the Oyster House, and everyone bombs at Bar Lubitsch at 11:30 at night.
Yeah, I guess the late night shows are hard.
And I tell everyone who walks off that stage with a goddamn puss on their face that if you get comfortable here, you could be so much better everywhere else. Mm-hmm. I had this dude. Do you know who TK is? TK Matson?
No.
He has been a booker. He books shows at bars and stuff like that. And now I think he has a show at the Ice House, but he runs Rebels of Comedy. And he's done it forever. Him and his wife, Kara, who was just on America's Got Talent, I think. And he, for like 2 years when I got out here, he would book me all the time at this place, the
Kara
Formosa.
Clank?
It's Kara with a K. I don't know what her real last name is, in all honesty.
Okay.
I've known her for like 7 years.
I know she is.
So I would either host or go on and do a set at the Formosa in this like small little bar back room that's like half inside, half outside. 10 people in that room is like a full room. Most of the time there wasn't even that. And I got so comfortable in silence, and I don't think anything's helped me more than those times. And I'll always be like crazy thankful for those times.
Yeah, like not needing knowing you're bombing and being okay with it.
Yeah.
Instead of sweating.
Sometimes, dude, I would go up to him and be like, I have one joke tonight and I have 10 minutes and I'm just we'll just see what happens.
Yeah.
And it's the best.
Someone was saying, and it was a really good point. I can't remember. I wish I could attribute this to them, but it was like, as long as you have an in and an out, I think it was Nate Bargatze.
Yeah, dude.
As long as you have a start and an end.
Yeah.
As long as you know how you're getting out of this, you can meander as long as you want and explore.
Yeah.
But it's when you like end with, I don't have a punchline for that.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
like,
Thank you. I guess that's it for me.
I gotta write something. I guess I gotta.
Dude, I always say, even to my buddy Delman, you know Delman.
Yeah, I know Delman.
He would.
Delman and I have a show together at the West Side.
Oh, nice.
Tight 5.
Are you? It's
November
called Tight
30th,
5.
yeah.
How many shows does that guy have at the West Side?
Does he? I think his other show moved to the Improv.
No.
The Unicorn.
Oh, the Subtle Unicorn one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
But maybe he has another one. I don't know.
He has like 7 shows.
Oh, he does?
But I would tell him, because we kind of started going at it really hard together
Okay.
a few years ago, and he would always be like, well, I don't know what to do tonight. And I would just be like, bookend it. Just know what you're going to open with and what you're going to close with, and just have fun in the middle.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you do that and it's fucking awesome. And sometimes you do that and it's scary. And then sometimes you're like, well, I have 7 minutes and I only have so many shows this week and I want to work on all this stuff. My problem is I always eat shit when I put 10 minutes worth of stuff into a 7-minute set. And then I'm rushing or whatever.
Yeah, rushing never is good. Yeah.
So for me, it's always better to have like 2 or 3 things and like meander.
But even like in a bit, you can if you're trying a new bit, as long as you know how to getting out of that bit, you can meander and explore.
Yeah.
It's another good Seinfeld quote is the good audiences help you explore and the bad audience helps you edit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice too. I should be writing stuff too.
And these are all tropes you'll hear again, I'm sure.
Just send me this recording.
Yeah, you'll listen to it, right? You subscribe, listen, 5-star rating.
Just send me your, if you keep making good points like that, just send me your track.
Yeah.
Because I don't need to.
Just my track?
Yeah.
It just gets quiet. It'll be a lot of, it's mostly you talking so far. It'll be a lot of, yeah, and then point. Yeah, yeah.
That's good stuff. I will listen to that. The one-sided podcast.
Maybe that's my new podcast. I just delete the guests and you just hear me.
Yeah. That's good. No one's done that yet.
Yeah, there's a avenue for everything. But I like quotes. I keep them by my desk. There's a whole kind of array of things.
You're a sticky note guy.
Sticky notes, things. I wish my garage was cleaner. I have a vision now of what I want to do just to make it like a nice podcast studio. Need an air conditioner.
Sectional desk with
This thing came with
safety
the
tape
house.
around it. Did it really?
It's from the 80s.
Yeah,
It's
but who the fuck wants to move a desk that's that big?
And it's bolted to the wall.
It's bolted to this wall.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man.
I
So
kinda
this
like
has
it.
never been a car garage.
I think it was at one point, but the previous owner made it drywalled it. I painted and a little bit.
It's nice. I like the ceilings.
You
This
like-
is good
you
for a
like-
podcast.
you like
You
that
guys got to
mist?
see the ceilings.
It is nice. It was a weird owner. Like she would spend money on things and then cheap out on other stuff. Like the ceiling's nice, right?
Yes.
And then she'd like cheap out on like important things like plumbing, electrical, or just things would be like,
Oh, she's
we'd
an
open something
aesthetic
up and
person.
be like, but not, it was just weird.
That's no good. That's like when you have millions of dollars worth of plastic surgery, but you don't get checked up.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. You got the nice boob implants, but
Yeah.
like
But
everything
you have
else.
lung problems.
But you have acne.
Yeah.
Implants and acne. Yeah.
Well, they would fix acne because that's on the outside.
Oh yeah, they just don't fix on the
Yeah,
inside.
you
So
have
they're
fucking
horrible.
diverticulitis and you have a boob job instead of getting yourself
I don't even.
fixed
What is
up.
diverticulitis?
I think it's an intestinal thing.
Nice. You know a lot about medical stuff. What does your wife do?
She's a doctor. No, she's a hairdresser.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, she's an aesthetic person.
She cut your hair?
She does. She just did yesterday.
Do you ever like go to a hairdresser and she's like, "What? Why'd you do that?"
No, not since being with her. I get my hair cut so infrequently that she's
Get out.
like, whenever I could tell when she looks disgusted when she looks at me. She's like,
She just intercepts you with a chair and some scissors.
yeah. All of a sudden, I'm sitting down. I wake up sitting down with a cloak on.
Right.
What the fuck is happening?
Does she have that thing? You ever gone to the barber and they put that machine on the hand?
What the fuck is
It's
that?
like but it makes the hand vibrate and it's like a massager.
What?
Yeah, it's like super old school.
Where do you get your hair cut?
This is only this one guy. It was, but I've seen it like maybe a couple times.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Is this like a barbershop? thing?
Barbershop. Yeah.
Oh,
They
I
give
haven't
you-
had the barbershop experience.
and like the towel and the straight shave.
Dude, I really want them to like. I really want a proper barber to do my beard. I think that would be a fun.
You should do that.
experience.
It's so fun.
Yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
How often
I haven't
do you
done it
go?
as a beard, but I've had a straight razor when I got married.
That's cool.
That was like me and the best man. We went and got the straight razor
Nice.
shave.
Let's go engrave something and get our beards done.
Engrave what?
Was that your best man thing? Did you give them engraved things? Best men are always getting engraved like flasks.
You know, it's so
pocket
funny. He
watches.
got me a flask and said, "Here, just go engrave it."
Here's a flask and $25. Go to the
I didn't
memory
give, you didn't give
store.
me the $25. Just like, here's
You
a
spend
flask.
your own money.
I never got it engraved, actually.
Yeah, why would you get it engraved for yourself?
Even our wedding wings and wedding bands were like, "Oh, we'll get it engraved later," and we never did.
No, man.
No one ever does.
No.
I should do that.
Why?
I don't know. It'd be a cute little gift. Be like, "Hey."
That's a good like anniversary thing.
Yeah, I just passed the 10 year, so I don't know.
Oh shit! Congratulations.
Thank you. I should have.
Do you have any tips?
Tips for 10 year? I don't know. I have kids, so it's a whole different thing.
Have kids, then you have to stay together.
Yeah. No, don't do that.
If things are going not so good, maybe have a kid, see if it changes things.
People do that, right?
For sure.
How long you been together?
8 or 9 years,
Okay, so you've been together 8 or 9 years.
but we've been married for 3.
3, okay.
4 next month.
So we've been together 12 and married for 10. So we got married. So it's not that different, you and I. We're kind of in a similar space.
We've known these ladies for the same amount of time.
Yeah.
Were you always out here?
I was in New York before this and then Vancouver.
What part of New York?
Well, actually Seattle, then Vancouver. East Village.
Cool.
Love it.
Dude, spent so much time
It's so
there.
funny. I just wrote out a list. And one of my quotes, I wish I had better attribution again, but is, what would you do if you could not fail?
Yeah.
And before you came here, I wrote 3 things. One of them was like, move to New York. And I was like, if I couldn't fail, I would 100% move to New York.
You're done with this place.
I'm not done with it at all. I just love New York. And whenever you leave New York, I feel like New York says, you're not done with us. You'll be back. That's what it feels like.
That's a living there thing?
Living there. And now that I'm in comedy, I was in music when I was there. So we both have that music
Yeah.
background.
We were probably both in music in New York at the same time.
Wait, what years were you there?
Oh, man. I told you I'm bad with years. But I started going there in high school. I graduated in 2002, but I was going to New York for music in like probably from 2002 to whenever I moved out here.
I was there 2003 to 2006.
Yeah, then for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever go to pianos?
Pianos.
Yeah.
Yep. We had a residency in Tribeca at this place called Uncle Mike's.
I don't know Uncle Mike's.
That's in Tribeca. Who would go to Tribeca to listen to music?
Right.
And then all around the East Village forever as a solo acoustic guy and as a band. And
Wasn't it fun?
Yes. Yes, it
pre,
was.
Pre-smartphone.
But then it got to a point, yes. But then it got to a point where I learned from industry professionals that I was doing more spinning my wheels than working. They taught me how to work smarter rather than working harder all the time.
Right.
Because I would just go anything from Connecticut. It's like at least an hour and a half train ride.
Yeah.
And I would go down there no matter what. Somebody has a bar show. I'd get 15 minutes, like 3 acoustic songs on a bar show. I'd be like, yeah, I'm in. I'll come.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
What's cool about comedy is it's less of a wheel spin whenever you take it out of the way gig, I find. With music, it's like you really need momentum and you really need to work a lot smarter. And it's such a bigger haul with equipment and bands.
For
and
sure.
Trajectory and timeline. Whereas if you're driving an hour to do a comedy gig, it kind of is a bit more beneficial and it's quicker. It's like in and out. You're like, you instantly know this worked and you get something out of it where you're not like tweaking your song based on what happened at a bar show.
Right.
Or like, yeah. So
Song's kind of set. Song kind of is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Especially if you have a record that you're selling at that show.
Exactly. It's much more defined.
Yeah.
So you can definitely spin your wheels in music a lot.
I at the end of my music career, I was like, I'm going to play whatever I want, however I want during the show. And then that'll make the album its own thing. You know, there'll be elements of what you liked about the show, but
but that's what a good show is. It's like, it always bugged me when I was with bands in the studio and they'd be like, oh, we can't do this on the record because we won't be able to recreate it live.
Yeah.
And we're like,
that's why you do it.
No, this is an art piece. This is a painting that we're creating. And when they see you live, that's something else.
I do miss that part sometimes. I really enjoyed making a record when everyone was getting along and stuff like that.
There's nothing like it.
And I had so many good experiences. Either there was this dude Casey who I made my first couple like singles records with, and then I got to make a record when I was by myself with this guy Darian Cunning, who to this day is my favorite musician of all time in Connecticut. And then I got to make a record with my friends in a band, which was awesome. 3 out of the 4 of us got along real well.
Nice. There's always the fourth, the bass player.
No, me and my bass player fought like brothers all the time. Kicked him out of the band 2 or 3 times. There's a YouTube video about how I kicked him out of the band. But like I was at his wedding. I was in his wedding. We still love each other very much. But the keyboard player, he was out.
Keys is always hard because they put on their tracks last.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks they're overplaying.
Yes.
Because they are.
And he wanted to do he wanted to mix, master, and record the record in like his bedroom. And we're like, no, we're going to like do it with this guy that we really like as the producer.
Right.
And he took all that real personally. So I was like, get the fuck out of here. And then I got to record 3 songs with this guy, Mike Mangini, who kind of found... he was like instrumental in finding Katy Perry and Joss Stone. Yeah. So he was in Fairfield, Connecticut. We did that. And that was just straight up me and him. He was in the other room at a computer and I was like in a bedroom with a guitar. And I was so nervous the whole time because you never know. I was still in the mindset that like this one thing could be it. That's when I used to think like that.
But that's when it was though.
Yeah. Yeah,
up
like
until,
I was always like, if Mike passes this song that he likes to the right person, that could be it.
Right. That was how it worked, though. Like it. Granted, you had the song.
Yes.
So you have the record and you have the hit record. Now you just need to get it into the right slot.
Yes.
And now it's just so different.
But I'll tell you this, as a 35-year-old now, looking back on that when I was like 24, 25, the recordings sound beautiful and pristine, but they're some of my least favorite recordings because they're so perfect.
Right.
And they're so like cookie cutter pop.
Right.
And sonically, it sounds amazing on any sound system. And there's sounds that I really love. But then there are things that I've recorded like in a shittier studio or in a basement where we're like, that came out, like, I don't know.
You captured something.
Yeah,
you captured
yeah.
magic then.
Yeah.
And also, the records between 2000 and 2005, just music, that era of music does not hold up.
Yeah.
It's like a lost generation. It's like coming out of like NSYNC, pop, everything's big, into like 50 Cent and into like a lost 4 years.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, wait a minute, I can just be myself.
Yeah.
Which is now music.
And then when you go back to around that time and people start recording things on their laptop, like it's just the MacBook Pro and them, and there's like hiss on the background, but it's like indie and cool, and everyone has a little soft voice and a ukulele.
Yeah.
Another 5 years of nerds with ukuleles doing real fun stuff.
Oh yeah, I remember that like when the MacBook Pro came out.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't need anything. You still did.
It's over.
It's over. Yeah.
My USB microphone.
The USB. Yeah. It's funny, like, because I used Logic from like Logic 3, and it was just like so much gear. You needed like a ADAT just to record the vocals that transported it in, and everything was like, just to get started was like 10 grand, and that was, you were still like pretty Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
And now it's just like super legit with a Zoom recorder.
Yep. And that's the stuff I meant. Like if I had every generation's different, but if I had like this when I was 20, it would have been over.
Yeah.
I would have had 7,000 songs.
Yeah. I almost didn't buy this because I was like, because I remember Zoom just being kind of like low end stuff.
Sure.
And I was like, it can't be good. I was like, I was doing Pro Tools or whatever. And then I got this thing. I'm like, wait, the preamps are good. It sounds good. I can put it on the table. It just works.
Yeah.
Like things just work now.
Yeah.
That's like, remember like MIDI sync and like, you recorded at 48 instead of 44.1. Everything's out of, fuck.
Yes. Terrible syncopation, bad syncopation.
Right. The MIDI timing's off. There's latency when you're recording.
That's the stuff I can never do. I don't have the mind to do the producer recording part of it.
No.
And the programming. Never, ever. You put mad dials in front of me, is like, I'll tweak this dial and find something I like about it. And then like, oh, if you put it the other way, it sounds like this. And then I could never make a decision. So I always wanted to leave that up to somebody who enjoyed doing it.
Yeah. I love doing that stuff.
Dude, and that's what teaches you about really any art, good collaboration.
Right.
I was so afraid of it for so long. Music made me so afraid of collaboration because I was like, dude, I have to write it all myself, because when rights are involved and everything, it's like who gets what, and I don't want to figure that shit out, and it ruins relationships and friendships, and I can't keep all this stuff in my head, so I would kind of push other people away and be like, no, it's just my thing, and just you come in and do whatever.
Right.
But sitting down and making something with another creative person who has the same or similar or a better drive and is really into it. The perfect example, way to, make this stuff go full circle. The last song I ever did was called You and Me, and I recorded it out here, and I recorded it with my friend Jeremy Hatcher, who is an amazing producer, but we just did it in his bedroom. And it might be the best recording and best written song I've ever done. And I was like, okay, this is what's going to end this whole chapter of my life and of being a musician. And
is all that music out? Can you like go listen to it?
Yeah, for sure. It's been out for a while. It's the best song I have
for
on
the fans,
Spotify.
What's it called?
It's called You and Me.
You and Me, okay.
And it's on Spotify.
And that's the artist name?
It has it's just Mike Falzone, You and Me.
Oh, Mike Falzone,
yeah.
You and Me.
Yeah. And I basically came in with an acoustic song, and then Jeremy did this all this I call it digital mastery, all this keyboard stuff and extra guitars, and he's just an amazing producer, and he made the song sound fucking awesome and perfect in a different way. And I'm still not sick of listening to it, and I think that's a real special type of thing.
Did you ever find it hard to say like, hey, I'm a comedian now? Because like you have this image and brand as you as the musician?
For the longest time, I was doing both. There were a few years where I was doing both, and people like, the producers that I mentioned would be like, you pick one. It's confusing.
Yeah.
And it never felt right to do that.
Yeah. But that was also the early 2000s mentality. You were one thing.
Yeah.
If you're this other thing, make a new name.
And I was like, it's going to hurt my relationships or my career or whatever, but I can't. I knew well enough to know that if I was fighting against what felt right, then it wasn't going to make any sense anyway.
Yeah.
Because there would have been this whole part of my brain that I wanted to explore, but I was neglecting. And then I'm like, now I'm just a half-assed musician.
Right.
You know, going at it with his whole ass.
Yeah. James Franco kind of made it okay to be anything because he was like an actor. And he's like, I'm going to go to school and then I'm going to do this weird stuff.
James Franco and then early Donald Glover.
Yeah.
I was at Donald Glover's first rap show.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Donald Glover's first rap show was at this place called The Creek in the Cave in Long Island City.
Yeah, I know what it is. I'm doing a show there in November.
That was the first place I ever did comedy in New York.
Oh, wow.
And I've done really well there. And dude, when you talk about like traveling to do comedy, getting on a train for 2 hours to go to Long Island City, bombing for 7 minutes straight, and then getting on the train and like sitting in it all the way back and having no fun, that kind of, that makes you want to get better real quick or quit.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like I did my first comedy week in New York in June, like in the summer, like New York's alive, everything's good. And now I'm going to do my first in the winter.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Oh, you remember winter?
I remember winter, yeah. But like I never did like, taking off the layers to do comedy.
Yeah. If I come here in this jacket, I'm doing jokes in the jacket.
Right. I'd be like, hold on, let me take off the parka and all that.
All right, let me put my bag down.
Yeah. But it is cool. I get to stay in the same apartment that I lived in when I was there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Does that person sublet or Airbnb?
My friend, she kept the apartment.
Cool.
It was like a rent-controlled place in the East Village, so
yeah,
it's open and available. And
nice.
I was like, it's such a weird time warp because like the building is exactly the same. It's still like run down. And,
but you're very different.
And the neighborhood is very different.
Yeah.
Yes, I used to get a bagel, coffee, and orange juice for $2.90.
Oh shit!
From this
That's like a $7 purchase now.
Now the whole thing is gone. It's like there's a new Thompson Square bagel. It's like super fancy, and it's like $11. You're like,
shit!
Okay, like this is good. It's better. It's unquestionably better. But there's something about that. Like you could grind it out when you're like saving all that money. As
you
a
could
young
always
artist.
Get a cheap sandwich
every
day.
Yeah, you could always like. I don't know how you would do it now, especially with the generation now that's like very experiential, and it's like. It's validation to get expensive like brunch and stuff like that. It's like how do you live? And everything's so expensive. I don't know. I couldn't do artists in New York with today's prices.
Priorities, I guess. Because I was never.
But the wages haven't gone up. Like
right.
If you're still struggling around, I would imagine as a musician you're getting paid the same dollar for dollar today as you were 10 years ago.
I never got paid much as a musician. My whole thing was like my parents supported all my artistic shit as long as I had 10 jobs to support myself in the, So I always had like waiter jobs or video production jobs. And then when I started working for myself full time before the YouTube stuff really took off, I was like doing photography, like wedding photography, wedding videography, like all this shit to get, a bigger paycheck to keep doing music.
Yeah. How many YouTube subscribers do you have?
Right now it's like 164,000.
Okay. I thought you were going to say 164.
164 strong.
Okay. You know how many I have?
How many?
4.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I
just started it yesterday though.
We probably somewhere in the middle is what I honestly have. Because like these people came from, this is since 2006.
Right.
And then it didn't take off for many years. And then I got a bunch of subscribers from doing music stuff and covers.
Right.
And then once in a while, a comedy video would take off. And then some of the vlogs took off for a while. And then I was hosting for SourceFed and people came from there. But I keep growing and doing different things. And so big chunks of people drop off, you know? Like imagine you subscribe to someone because you like their cover of like Cold War Kids 10 years ago. And now I'm like, here's my stand-up special.
Right.
What do you think?
I've worked with artists in the past too that are like TV famous.
Yeah.
And then they have like 1 million followers, but then they're doing music and they still have the followers. Some of them drop off, but it's also like it's weird how sometimes the audience just doesn't care about your other thing.
Yeah, which is okay.
Which is fine, yeah.
Because they're consumers they just want to be entertained.
Right.
You did a thing that entertained them. They're not necessarily invested in you as a person.
Right.
But that's been the most beneficial thing. I'm so happy I jumped on YouTube when I did. It's kind of, there's so many things that are shit about it now, but I'm so happy that I'm still there.
What's not good about it now?
Oh, so many things. But just to get the rest of this point out, it's like the people that are still there and with me, even if it's like, you know, it was 100,000 people at one point, even if it's 3,000 people now, they are the most valuable, most important, really invaluable group of people ever. They're the people who will come to see you when you travel everywhere.
Fans.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And like true fans that maybe jumped on at a point where I was doing something a little different, but liked me as a person enough to be on board when I do other things.
Right.
And that's like so much better in my opinion than I like this song. Hopefully you'll make another song like this at some point.
Right. I like the song. I don't know anything about you.
Yeah.
But that was art for so long.
For sure.
Yeah.
But these people, like, for example, when I got sick and when I was talking about my experiences and why I talk the way I talk and why I talk about the things and the saving people time thing, it's like when people click with the kind of person you are, then they're in.
Yeah. It's that 1,000 true fans philosophy. If you have 1,000 true fans, you can live off your art.
Yeah.
You probably have more than that.
A little more.
Yeah.
But that's what
And do you
is
feel
happening.
that they're spread around the world? Or are they in
man.
LA?
It's I always thought it was crazy. This kind of started in music, but definitely with the help of the internet, I could go to places I'd never been before and people would show up.
For comedy?
Yeah.
Nice.
Toronto is what really blew my head up a little bit.
Really? You did the corner out there, right?
Yes.
How was it?
For the last 3 or 4 years, I've been doing that.
Wow.
I remember the first year, I just wanted a show in Toronto. I was doing this thing called Buffer Festival, which was like a YouTube film festival. And I wanted to do a stand-up show, and they weren't interested in having a stand-up show at the festival. So I was like, okay, I'll find some place. And I hit up the place, and they were like, they didn't even answer me because they didn't know who I was. Like, why would we give this guy a show? Sam Tripoli ended up passing my name to them and being like, they asked Sam, do you know this guy? And he had heard of me from just being around town and being a nice person. So he was like, yeah, why not? What's the worst that could happen? He has fans. What's the worst that could happen? He brings people to your place for a weekend or whatever.
Right.
So as soon as they said yes, I put it online, the tickets, and I was like, dude, they said yes, let's go. We have at least one night where I could be on a show. That show sold out immediately. And then it went from like one show to like, I think I did anywhere between 4 and 5 shows that weekend. And they were all sold out. So next year, obviously, they're like, come. And so I was like, dude, I was always grateful to Sam. I was always grateful to the corner for giving me a chance. And there's all these great comedians in Toronto that,
It's a great scene there.
For sure, man. And I told the owner, Joe, I was like, put, whoever you want on these shows, put like 2 or 3 openers and a host or whatever. So the people I bring, whom it might be their first time to a comedy show, they could see all the talent that they have here and they'll come back for sure. They're good people.
Right.
And I've been doing that for like 3 or 4 years. I just got back from there. I did like anywhere between 6 and 9 spots. They weren't all shows.
Do you do Comedy Bar?
No.
Comedy Bar is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just do the corner.
Okay.
I just go up there for a weekend. I do as many shows as humanly possible, and then
Then get out.
yeah, they have 2 locations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I popped into one of them just to check it out, but I was was supposed to do a spot there, but I was at Comedy Bar, and they're kind of like spread out in Toronto, and we just couldn't make it over there in time.
Yeah. I'll put in a good word if you're interested.
Oh yeah, next time for sure.
Yeah, those are good people there.
Yeah, I hear it's great and a lot of fun.
It's like, I always say, it's like if the Belly Room was its own comedy club.
Right.
Like if you walked into the building and it was like literally walking into
You're talking about the one that you walk in and go right down the stairs? Or the other one?
Yes. There's one you walk in, you go down some stairs. And
Yeah.
There's one you walk in and you go
I've only been down
upstairs.
to the downstairs one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're both really fun, man.
Yeah.
Really
It
cool
definitely
vibe.
had the belly room vibe. You're right.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's very cool. And so business wise, you have like a nice operation.
I guess it's been the same fucking mindset since high school and college.
Right. DIY, mp3.com. Let's do it.
But it's always like I do the most fun shit, and then I do anything I can to keep the fun shit going. And then I'm just at this incredibly lucky part in my life where I could be, a full-time creator of things, which is why I'm always making stuff.
Yeah. And you don't have a day job?
No, I haven't had a day job in a long time.
So you live in the dream.
Yeah, for a while. I don't know how it keeps going, but it's just appreciating the people who make that possible. As corny as it sounds, that's the whole fucking thing. Once you find those people, you have to treat them like gold. Yeah, because they'll, they remember.
I was watching this HBO documentary with like Carl Reiner. Have you seen it? With a bunch of other old guys, and they're talking about the secret of long life because they're all like in their 90s, and it's like have good friends. Yeah. And like, and they talked to this doctor, and he said the number one thing is to have face-to-face contact.
That's nice.
He's like, that's what keeps you like alive. I mean, sort of like not drinking and smoking and all those things, like the basics, but like having things to look forward to every day and having face-to-face contact. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's good. And having good friends, like,
that's hard here.
It is hard, yeah.
It's hard here for the first reasons that we were talking about. Yeah. It's like I've had really people I thought were really, really good friends. And then, I was always a big believer of like once somebody shows you their true colors, it's like you gotta make an adjustment based on that.
Like that they're not who you thought they were?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you find that can happen over a long period of time, or is it usually pretty quick?
Well, what's long? It's all like relative.
Over a year?
Over a year, maybe.
You ever have someone you known for a year and then be like,
Yeah, I've been coming to terms with the fact that I have a lot of good acquaintances. Yeah. I like a lot of people, but I'll keep people at an arm's distance just based on things that have happened in the past 5 years. I have people who I've known for 4 or 5 years that I thought very specifically were one type of a way, and then something happens and they just show you. I'm a big, like, if you're not, I'm a good friend. I come from the Northeast, where it's a very specific kind of mentality, going back to Maddie Chimber, who I don't know very well. But I'm a specific type of friend to you. If I'm your friend, I'm in, and I'll have your back or whatever. And I expect at least that back. So as soon as I find out there's a disconnect, I'm like, oh, I got to make an adjustment. I'm not going to keep on giving this type of friendship to you if it's not reciprocated.
Have you ever had like a good friend, do you give them a second chance if they're like, because people are people and they make mistakes?
I do that.
Because sometimes if you have a good friend and they can make a interesting choice with you or in a situation and you're like, maybe they're just super stressed or they're going through something.
And like, I'm a flawed human being too. And I fuck up all the time.
We're all flawed.
So I'll give somebody a second, third, or fourth chance. I don't like when I start to get in a rut where I'm bummed out because people keep bumming me out. Like if I listen to myself tell my wife a story about how this person pissed me off. Yeah. And it's kind of the same story as the last time we had this conversation, then I'm like, why the fuck are we still friends? Yeah. So that's kind of what I deal with sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's hard to find good friends in LA.
Yeah. Also getting older makes it tough because people are kind of set in who they are.
Yeah. Another good quote. You know who your friends are when they don't want things from you. Yeah. Yeah. Or when they don't need anything from you.
Yes.
That's more like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, we're all facilitators to different people in our lives.
Especially when you book a show.
Ah! Tell me about it.
Hey, man, I hope you're good. Dude, we have this, the Heavy Lolo guys have this raffle. We're going to have this raffle. And you get a free raffle ticket if you hit up the show and you end your email with like, all right, hope everything's good. Hope things are good with you. And like, you just have no prior relationship with those people. It's like the assumed familiarity stuff.
Well, what's your approach when you hit someone up for a show?
I mean, I'll be polite and everything. I'll just try to be. Nothing teaches you. That's why you always got to know as many sides as humanly possible to how your business works. Like if you're a musician, know how to record stuff and know how to sell stuff and know how to market shit.
Right.
So you know how to treat all these people. Like I have all these people who work for me now who help me edit videos and help me design stuff. And I was doing that shit freelance for people to make money to be a musician for years.
Right.
So I know how to treat a freelance, whatever.
Right.
So booking a show, I know all the emails you get as a booker. So I'll make mine like very whatever. Or I straight up won't email people.
Right.
Either you come highly recommended from somebody that person trusts.
Yeah.
Or you show up face to face.
Like, you usually have to reach out if you're going to a new city.
For sure.
What are you gonna do?
That's
just
different.
Do a trip there.
I was talking about like in town.
Oh, yeah.
But even then, reaching out through a recommendation.
Yeah, that helps.
That's
for sure.
the move.
Yeah. And like Facebook, they kind of see like what's what. I'm going to give a shout out to Paige Weldon. Do you know who she is?
Fuck yeah.
For giving me the best booking request email I've ever had.
Yeah.
Do you want me to break it down for you?
Please.
So it says, hi, she goes through the email address, not through Facebook and not through Instagram, which is nothing better. That's just the way, I think through an email you get more across. So email, and it says, hey, I'd love to do this show. Heard great things about it. Here are the dates I have available. So she's researched the show to know it's on a Wednesday. Here are the Wednesdays I can do it. Hope to hear from you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, that makes my job so much easier. I know which Wednesdays I have. I know which Wednesdays you're free. Oh, and includes, and here's a tape.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I don't really watch tapes, to be honest.
Never watch them.
Because I don't watch them because I don't want to be in a position where I'm evaluating other people's comedy.
Yeah, because who the fuck are you?
Exactly.
Who the fuck am I? Who are any of us?
So I don't really watch them, but it's a nice gesture. And I'm not booking like the Comedy Store or whatever, so it's like I'll give a lot of people chances.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was a great way to approach it. Do you want to hear mine?
Yes.
And then I want like an honest feedback if you hate it.
Hey man, how are you? Hope you're well.
That's pretty
Love
much.
you.
No, don't put that. Mine is something along the lines of, hey man, hope you're well.
Raffle ticket.
I'd love to do the show if you have any dates available. Here's a tape if you need. All the best, Latif. Mm-hmm. That's it.
That's fine.
Well, out of 10, what is that?
In all honesty, if I didn't know you, I probably wouldn't book you off that.
What would you need?
I would need you to come to one or be highly recommended from somebody I trust.
It's funny. Actually, I don't reach out that way in LA a lot. Mm-hmm. It's usually I've gone to the show. Yeah. Assume I've gone to the show.
Oh, then you're in. If you come up and you introduce yourself to me, and I get a good vibe from you, you're in. You're in, yeah. Especially, I'll be more lenient with people from like out of town. You're like, hey, I'm from Atlanta. I'm only going to be in town for whatever. I'm super lenient
from people from out of town as well.
Yeah, because I know that. And that's something that like you would want to also have that kind of experience if you were going somewhere else. I had people from Atlanta fucking welcome me with open arms. Same thing. I consider everyone from Toronto. I always try to help them out.
Yeah. Canadians.
People from New York. Yeah. Any Canadian, really. You could be a piece of shit. It doesn't matter.
Hey, it's the only reason why you're here right now. I'm Canadian.
That's true. That's true. I come highly recommended from everyone in Toronto.
Yeah. I give people out of town a chance. I give lots of people chances. Like if you're a good dude and I know you and it's like you haven't, I don't know. Just very few people have actually not,
there's certain things I get bummed out at if, like a lot of people used to submit to the crowd work show, but not like just completely, they'll send me a tape, but it's not crowd work.
Oh, yeah. Is that a new show?
The crowd work show? No, I've been doing that longer than any of the other
it's crazy.
ones.
I just saw the first post I saw about it was for the Laugh Factory one you just did.
Yeah. So the Friends and Friends crowd work show started maybe 4 or 5 years ago at this point in the back of a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And we always had a good turnout, man. And it was awesome. And I personally love the experience. And I love doing crowd work. And a lot of that comes from being a solo musician for years and years, like playing in the corner of a coffee shop for 3 hours at a time and just doing crowd work the whole time and keeping people interested and stuff. Yeah. And so, It's the skill that I've developed, and it's my favorite thing. I love the crowd work comedians. I love Ian Bagg. Used to love watching Andrew Santino and Chris D'Elia do crowd work, because it just makes it, there's
it's not, you can't replicate it.
Right. And a lot of people, like, you send tapes out.
Yeah.
And I used to send a lot of crowd work tapes out, and they'd be like, well, how do we know that you could do this, whatever? And you don't, but I can. Right. Anywhere, because it's the skill that I have,
right.
And the people in the room watching the show could take pride in, like, this is only happening tonight.
It unifies the room.
Yes. Yeah. So and when you go out, everyone's house is comfortable as fuck.
Right.
And you have Netflix at your house and all your favorite food and your most comfortable couch. And if you're going to spend money to go out, you want a special, worthwhile experience.
You want an experience.
So that's why those shows have been so successful.
Right.
Yeah.
I only do crowd work at the Comedy Bunker.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because you should.
I think it's a great it's a great skill to have.
Yeah.
And also, we get a lot of repeat customers. So I'm not going to hit them with my act every time.
Not every time.
It's just too much.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I can do it now, because when I host the Improv or wherever, it's a nice way to build. Because as the host too, it's like, I know it's my show, but I'm making the show better for the other comedians and the guests.
It's your job as a host to make the audience think.
It's not about me.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's your job as the host to make them think they came to something special, and it's going to be the most fun, and that you're excited to be there too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, you don't want to do too much time. And also, they're done with you. So like, you do your stuff, and then you do a time. If you have something really funny,
or like something that runs off of something else.
Something else that they're running in, but don't do other bits in between. That's what my approach, at least. Try not to do other bits unless you got to kill time.
Yeah. And, or bring the room back if someone bombs. That's tough sometimes, because they are done with you, and it is your job to bring them back.
Reset the room.
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of mine. I said, hosting is basically, you do your intro, and then you're basically just bombing in between the other comedians. Your job is to do that.
It sounds like you're a great host.
It is, because it's like I've tried like good bits in between other comedians, and they're like, dude, stop.
Dude, if it comes out of nowhere, they're no longer invested.
They're not invested.
So that's why it has to be like a runner, or something from the last thing that the previous person said,
right?
Because they don't give a shit. And then it's that suspension of disbelief. That's why the crowd work does so well, because they're like, oh, that person's with us, that person's like our host for the night,
right? He sees
so if you're like, okay, that was Ron Funches, do you guys like dogs?
No, who
gives a fuck?
No, they don't.
Shut up. Who's next? We know somebody's next, and we know you're doing a joke.
Yeah.
So it's like,
there's an anxiety. We know you're leaving in like 30 seconds.
You're putting too much pressure on that joke.
Yeah, on yourself and on the audience to like laugh here.
Yeah. Dude, Paige from the Improv hit me up yesterday late at night. She was like, could you host the 10:30 show tonight? I'm like, fuck yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
And because I know that I'll do whatever to start the show. Maybe I'll tell a couple jokes, but then it's just like memorizing people's names and credits and doing crowd work.
Right.
And that's the shit. Go up there, big smile. I'm having a great time. You should have a great time.
Yeah.
That's it. It's a room full of people who want to have a great time.
That's all you got to do.
And then for people like if you're a new comic, and I'm saying anywhere between like 1 and 6 years in, and if you turn down hosting gigs, I think that's stupid as fuck.
Who does that?
So many people hate hosting.
I don't know.
So many people hate hosting.
Really?
And going first. And I'm like, you won't be doing comedy in 3 years if you're somebody who consistently turns those things down.
Well, how do you turn down going first? Because sometimes you don't know.
So many people, dude. So many people hate going first.
Huh. I love going first. You get to leave first.
You don't have to see any of these pieces of shit. Dude, they're shit jokes.
They're ready for comedy.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
not always.
It's not as good as going like third or fourth, like in the sweet spot. But it's better than going last, unless you're the headliner. Unless they're there for you, going last is not as good as going first, in my opinion.
I don't know, man. So people, they have the host, and they know the host is different from everybody else. And then first is called biting the bullet.
Yeah.
And people aren't always ready. It's like if a good host will warm them up perfectly so you feel like you're going third or fourth.
Right.
But a shitty host is just like, okay, I'm here and you guys are here and this joke didn't work and we got some comics for you. Here's Mike.
Yeah.
Here's the first one. Here's Mike.
Right. Or the classic, hey guys, coming to the stage is Mike. He's done things like, and you're like, say the name last.
Yeah.
Get that part done.
Yeah.
Like the name and then the credits. You're like,
yeah.
And then, because then what they have to do, they have to say, and here's Mike.
Here's Mike.
And they have to say it again.
Yeah. I don't like when hosts go, okay, you're going to love this next person. Start clapping right now for, yeah. Do you do that?
No, I don't do that.
Never. I hate that so much.
I haven't seen that much, but.
Delman does that. I'll call him out right now.
Oh, really?
Delman does that. When he only does it when he gets nervous and he runs out of things to say. Because he knows he's supposed to get the energy up, and he's not the only one who does it. He's just the first person that popped into my mind.
Right.
But I've seen countless hosts be like, "Okay, start clapping right now. You're gonna love this next person." And I'm like, "Why the fuck?" As an audience member, like, why the fuck am I clapping?
Right.
Do something to me. I'll clap.
Right.
You don't get to tell me when to clap.
Right.
I paid $25 to be here.
I like Thomas Dale. He had me intro him as like, hey, don't tell them not to clap until I'm on stage.
Yeah.
And then he like says like, I want to earn the claps. I don't want you guys to clap just because I'm walking up.
He's so good. He's so good and so unique.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did the very first Comedy Bunker, and he's so funny. And he's still
great.
one of the people who people come and be like, when is he coming back?
Yeah,
like,
he's great to have on any show.
Yeah.
That's that undeniable.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep.
Have you ever, so you're completely self-sufficient off your art, which is like huge milestone, knock on IKEA wood.
Yeah, it counts.
It counts, yeah. It's
Swedish wood.
Swedish wood. Is it wood? Who knows? It's just meatballs crushed up. Weird. Have you ever, like, what's your next thing? Like, have you ever invested in like a house?
No,
or
I really have no money. No, I have just a little bit of money that I'm slowly starting to save. I try to put a little bit away all the time, but it's not a massive amount of money. And I would love a place. I would love a house.
Yeah.
But I'm not great with investments, and I don't really know how to do that stuff. I'm just like good at working all the time.
Do you save for retirement?
No. I mean, I have like an Acorns account or whatever,
right?
Which I need to like take the money out of and put in like a different thing.
But you're self-employed?
Yes.
So you haven't set up like an IRA or anything like that?
No, I got a doing business as
DBA, like
DBA.
an LLC or just sole proprietor?
I think it's sole proprietor.
Yeah.
Sole proprietor.
Yeah.
But it's like the legit one.
Yeah. Well, if you are saving for the long term, an IRA is usually a good idea because you put it in tax-free, or you pay the taxes now when you take it out, depending if you do the Roth or traditional IRA.
I was talking to somebody at the bank the other day, and I told them I had an Acorns thing, and they were like, is there a certain amount of money in there? And I was like, yeah, I think so. Like, just take it out and give it to us.
Yeah, banks always do that. Take it out, give it to us. But yeah,
well, he was wearing a suit, so I'm inclined to listen.
Yeah, is it English accent as well?
No,
don't go with them. You got to be English and a suit. Otherwise, 3-piece with the vest.
They're always in a vest.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things about investing is it's much easier to get rich over time than it is overnight. Overnight is that old, like, I just need a hit. I mean, this whole town has found it off. One day I'll be rich, you know? But if you're just slowly stocking away money, all of a sudden that Acorns account or that IRA, you'll have this nest egg.
Yeah. Yeah. And the slow burn thing has been my whole career.
Right. And isn't that really what comedy is like?
Yes.
1%, if you get 1% better each day, you're killing it.
You don't want to get famous before you get good, because that's no good, because you don't get a ton of chances.
Does that happen anymore though?
I do. Yes. Yeah.
Famous before good?
Yeah.
But you're famous for something. You're not famous for comedy then. You're famous for something like adjacent, like YouTubing or something.
Yeah. Yes. Like you can get famous on YouTube as a comedy act before you know how to do comedy.
Before you know how to do stand-up.
Yes.
You're doing like sketches and videos.
So when you go from, I've seen people go from sketches or videos to sold out shows at a club, and then they eat shit and the club never wants them back ever again. And then you have this terrible relationship. When I moved out here, this is kind of like the chip on my shoulder that I'm trying to get rid of. It's a story
Right.
I used to tell all the time that I try not to tell anymore because it's not
I
like
haven't
this
heard it.
anymore. Yeah, perfect. But when I first moved out here and I would do okay at clubs, people would come up to me and they'd be like, I've never seen you before. Where are you from? How long have you been doing this? Whatever. And I'd be like, well, I just moved out here, but I've been doing YouTube for a long time. And as soon as I say that, you just watch the respect melt off people's faces.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's why you're here? Okay, we won't see you around again.
Yeah, yeah.
And then 7 years later, I'm still around. So everybody's like, oh, he made it. He's one of us now.
Right, yeah.
So that's kind of where I am now. I'm more stand-up comedian. People think of me more as a stand-up comedian than a YouTube
Yeah,
person.
I only know you as a comedian. I never didn't know you did YouTube until later.
Yeah, it's nice. That's nice. But that took a lot of work, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'll never forget. Dude, the tone changes so fast. Doing pretty good on stage and then coming out and getting the Inquisition and then people being
But that's
like,
always
oh.
like what people are trying to do. They're trying to evaluate you, see what kind of like experience level, threat, etc. you are,
Yep.
where you're from, why you're here, and then put you in a box.
Yes.
Yeah, be like, oh, I need to still be friends with this person, or he'll never be here again, or I don't agree with how he got here, so I'm going to put him in this box.
Yes. Dude, one of my favorite compliments that I've ever gotten is from, I don't remember who said it, but somebody was like, dude, I don't know like who you run with. Like I never see you with anyone. You're just like when you're hanging out, you're by yourself. Like no one knows who your crew is or no one whatever. And I love that. I love that I got to wherever I am by being by myself and doing the best
I like being friends with everybody. Like I don't need to be. I don't like cliques. I don't like it.
It's stupid, man, and it happens fast.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't really I mean I only know of like the established cliques, like the Rogan clique or these people or that, but I don't know any.
That's fine because they're all rich. They don't need to be accepted or not accepted.
Yeah,
by
and
anyone.
I think that's fine. They're all friends and they help each other out.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I'm so oblivious to stuff like this going on. It's kind of like even in high school, like I didn't know a lot of the gossip or like, did you hear this happen? I'm like, what? I don't like like people don't tend to like talk shit about other comedians to me, and like, which I love.
You have a mature demeanor. No one wants to.
And I think because I try not to do it too, so people like they know like maybe I'm not going to reciprocate or
yeah.
you know,
like oh, you hear this person's doing that? Well, I don't care. I don't.
Yeah.
We're great.
Good for them. Yeah. And I feel like even though I started comedy late, I've been in show business my whole life, so it's like I understand what this leads to, and it's nowhere positive.
Yes.
You know?
It's a very disparaging things all the time and talking shit about people. It's like it always comes back around.
Yeah. It's nice to vent if someone did something messed
sure.
up to you.
For sure.
And you got to have those good friends you can trust that aren't going to like run to the person and all that. But long term, you're better off being cool and just get along with everybody. You know?
Yeah. Or just don't, just be very honest about things.
Right.
Like I always, even if I don't like what the person's saying, if I know it's coming from an honest, genuine place.
Right.
I'm like, well, you can't really fault them for that. That's how they feel. About
Yeah, and I'm not trying to police other people can act how they want to act.
Yeah.
But I just try to. You can only control yourself.
Correct.
So if you want to make the world a better place, start with you because we all have flaws. I did 5 things I'm probably not proud of before you even
Name
got
all
here.
of them.
I don't even know.
Got here.
Maybe I was a little curt with my kids in the morning, or like a little tired, or
Dude, your bathroom really pushed me in the direction of having kids.
used to like the little toys everywhere.
You got a little step stool going up to your sink.
You used
and
it,
I
didn't
was
you?
like, yeah. I was so high above your sink. I dove into your sink. And
You
I
were
was
watching
fine.
something else in there.
Yeah, dude, it was that's just the cutest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it is cute.
It's like you got a little version of you that needs steps to get to a sink to wash their hands.
Yeah. And I have a 1 boy, 1 girl, and they're just like they're little people now, so it's like a fun age, and they're like, it's funny like the different personalities. Like one is like very like ruled. She wants all the rules to do something.
Cool.
Like they're both learning music, and she's like, give me the thing, give me the notes, I will copy it.
Yeah.
And the other, my son is like, no, I'm gonna give him my own song. Anyway, he's not following. He's like, I want to. They had a layover on the way to Canada, and they missed their flight. And they talk about it every day.
Really?
Like, I don't know if it's traumatizing.
Like little business people?
They're like, that was my son's song. It was about the layover on Alaska Airlines.
Oh, and how old is he?
He's 4.
Come on, man. That's adorable.
So cute. And like, they're obsessed with planes now. And they want an Alaska Airlines plane so they can recreate missing the flight.
Yeah.
And staying at the hotel.
How do we get a plane, Dad? You're in entertainment, right?
A plane? Oh my God.
That's fucking awesome.
Owning a plane is like, it's a pure luxury. There's nothing good about that.
Oh, I couldn't even. I'll never, no matter what happens, I'll never know.
You'll never know?
I'll never know.
Have you ever flown on a private jet?
Never.
No, me either.
I don't even want to.
Why?
I did first class once, technically twice, there and back. And I was like, I wish I didn't know. I wish I had no idea.
Was it like first class where it's just a little bit bigger seat, or like the full lay, like super?
Not like international full class, because that's different.
That's different, yeah. I've never done that.
They put you in a train car, in your own train car on the plane.
They just tow you a little cable.
You're flailing on the back of the plane. But
like, this is worse.
Like as soon as I sat down,
Yeah.
they offered me a mimosa, and I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have done
Don't
this.
get used to this.
Yeah. And like I know a lot of comedians are really frugal when they go like stay at places.
Right.
But I'm always like, if I'm going, especially by myself, if I'm going to these cities that I've never been to, that I've always wanted to go to, like the first time I went to Chicago or the first time I went to Portland, it's fucking
I love Portland.
awesome.
Yeah.
I will go on this app, Hotels Tonight,
Yeah.
and I'll try to find the best deal for the best hotel.
Best value.
Because I don't want to, I've done the music and
Yeah.
shitty touring thing where you stay in the Econo Lodge and
Yeah.
you're sleeping on plastic and you're like, what the fuck is this? This is gross.
There ends up being a huge difference between like 89 and like 109.
For sure.
Yeah.
80, anything less than $100, you're running the risk of getting bit by something.
Yeah. And it's better to skimp in other places if you can, you know.
Yeah, like I'll eat sandwiches or what. I won't go out to a fancy dinner every night.
Right.
But I want to stay in a place where I could be like, I could write in the hotel room. I could relax and be quiet in the hotel room.
You don't want to instantly leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to, dude, there's this place that I stayed in San Francisco. I think it's called the White Swan or whatever. And it's just like it's old. And it's like staying in an old aunt's house.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. And I'll go there every time I'm there.
Are you an Airbnb guy?
No.
Me either. I'm off Airbnb.
I don't give a fuck about your house. I don't want to stay in your weird house.
I think it used to be good for like 7 or 8 years ago, and now it's just gotten like it's a lot of like gotchas.
Yeah, for sure, because everyone thinks that they could do it. Yeah, I'll vacuum in this one room in my house, and then you could sleep there if you want.
Yeah. Oh, I've never done the one room. I've only done the full apartment.
I guess
did one in
that's the only
Toronto
way to
that was
go.
actually really good, and I was there for like 6 days, and that's nice because you're like, okay, I can put something in the fridge, and if it's clean and in a good neighborhood, but overall hotel is so much better.
I don't like being in another person's personal space.
Have you ever Airbnb'd your place?
Never.
No,
I don't want strangers in my place either.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I don't need you at my house.
Yeah, it's a big...
I don't make this nice for you.
Right.
You know? This is nice for me and my wife. I don't want anyone else here.
What about, would you get, if you had an apartment that you owned and didn't live there, would you Airbnb it out?
Yeah, because that's ever since like high school, I thought that one of the best investments would be
Jordans?
Jordans.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I could just rent out Jordans.
Oh, Jordan rental service.
Perfect.
Jordash.
Yeah. K&B. Kicks and breakfast. But I always wanted to buy an apartment that I could rent out.
Yeah.
And just be a cool landlord and have like one spot.
Yeah, well, you'd be cool.
I've had cool landlords.
Yeah.
And I know how to do that.
Right.
For the most part. I know how to not be a dick. I know how to me and my wife are both like extremely good judges of character.
Right.
Pretty quickly.
Where would you do one in LA? Let's make this happen.
I don't know where I could I don't
do
know
you
what
live?
I could afford here. Sherman Oaks.
You live in Sherman Oaks?
Yeah, I love Sherman Oaks.
Oh, we're neighbors.
Yeah.
We're in
I love
Sherman-
it. Studio
okay.
City too.
Yeah,
Latif lives in Studio City. He has a bunch of equipment.
Thank you. How do you mark an edit point? I think you press 118.
Edit just make the audio peak and then you can look for it.
Okay.
Visual.
Mike, the only time Mike laughed is when he gave out my address.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I grew up always having, I don't have any audio equipment now other than the $300 Zoom.
Yeah.
But I used to always have a lot of it. Like when Pro Tools, you remember Pro Tools and
Hell
stuff?
yeah.
That was expensive. And I
Yes.
was always
All the keys, all the special keys.
Oh, the keys, the cards you put in that was always like paranoid for getting robbed and stuff.
Whenever there's too much stuff, I like to have the least amount of stuff.
It's funny. I need a new car, and the Prius I love the Prius because I can throw it in any spot. I don't care about it. If someone like kind of clipped me a little bit rear-ended, like just soft, I was like, that's fine. Just go away. It doesn't matter. And I don't want a new car because I don't want to care about it.
Yeah.
And I like my friends stay with me. I'm like, yeah, use the car. It's like, I don't want to have something that I care about. I feel like anything you care about too much, it's too expensive for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you own things that you're too precious about, that means you're stretching outside of what you should own.
Added stress. It's like paying for added stress. Who wants that? Everybody has enough stress.
Absolutely.
I always say.
Yeah. So for those fans listening, we can come to the Oyster Bar Monday, right?
Monday.
Mike and I are
Forever.
there every Monday.
Uh-huh. I love that you're there.
Oh, thanks.
And I want to get it to a point where, whatever, it's not. We can talk about this.
What do you think about moving it to 8?
That was dude. It was supposed to be at 8. And then it was a thing where they were like, well, there's this guy coming in to do food. And a lot of the people who come in just for the food, because it's not a bar that normally does food.
Yeah.
Despite being named after one. And a lot of people who come in just for this person's food don't give a shit about the comedy. So would you mind moving it to 9? We moved it to 9. Second weekend, they're like, okay, we're not doing food anymore. Show's still at 9. I'm like, dude.
Have you asked them to move it to 8?
No, because I really like every Monday it's a mystery lineup.
Yeah.
And the flyers are always some kind of variation on a really good picture of someone who's been there in the past. And then it has all the photos. So when somebody gets booked for the shows, I send them like 20 photos, vertical and horizontal. And I'm like, use any of these you want. Right. These are all the past guests. You don't get your picture until you did the show. No one knows who's on your show. It's this cool like experience.
Right.
And then if we change it to 8, I have to go back. Like all of those are useless.
Photoshop work.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. Then I got to pay someone to change all that shit.
It's a lot of work. But I will, other side of the argument, it is a sleepy Sherman Oaks neighborhood.
Yes.
8 o'clock, there were more people. Pros and cons.
Yeah, does an hour make that much of a difference? It's not 11. I've seen the difference, 11:30.
It's a sharp drop off to 4 digits.
Yeah, dude. Heavy low lows every Tuesday at 11:30.
But it's
or 11 o'clock.
But there's something magical about that show.
I love it. Me and Tommy are in the corner. Tommy plays piano and I take all those pictures and we stuffed ourselves in the corner. So we see everything. We see the comedians. We see Kyle struggle as the host. We see the people who are there from the music show before who don't really want to be there and the 3 or 4 people that show up. And sometimes it's awesome and wall-to-wall people, and that's a magical thing.
Wall-to-wall?
Yeah, there was it used to be on Sunday nights, and a lot of people would come out late night, and it would be amazing. But we have fun every single night, regardless of how many people were there.
What does the venue think?
They just like that people are there.
Right.
Because it's fucking, who would be there if we weren't there?
Right.
But it's like, me and Tommy talk about if we could explain or package the vibe and everyone just hanging out and being loose and having fun. If people knew what it was like, more people would come, I think. Especially comedians, dude. Even when I wasn't booked on that show all the time, I would show up every week.
There, yeah. It is a fun, but do you think it's too much of fun hang for comedians and not enough of fun hang for audience?
I think it could be the same for both.
Right.
Because if you're in your 20s and on a date and you don't want that date to end, just go there and have another drink and hang out with your lady.
Heavy Lolo every Tuesday, Bar Lubitsch, 11:30
You want to get laid? You go to Bar Lubitsch at 11:30 on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
11 o'clock, wherever
Mike
the fuck
will be
it
there.
is. I will be
married,
there.
but
I'll make sure that you have sex with something.
Okay, that's a social contract. I think it's binding.
But
let's go with yes.
It's awesome, man. I love hanging out there. Now we have a dude who does like a pregame taco thing, and he's making tacos until the show's over. So you can go and grab a bite and bring it in. And
pre-gaming is important.
Dude, it's the
shows,
shit, man.
Yeah.
So you show up around 10, get yourself a taco.
That's an important part of the comedy bunker is the pregame.
Yeah.
It's kind of what makes it like...
Oh, yeah. You do have a thing where everybody kind of hangs out and you have food.
Food, tacos. And
I forget about that part.
Yeah. Well, you only did it once. And
twice.
You did it twice?
I'm almost positive.
Okay, twice. But you're pretty in and out both times. Like you had to go to laugh out. I think you went up first.
Yeah.
And you had to go take off pretty quick. Mm-hmm. And I think you might have done the late night show one time.
Maybe.
But yeah, getting everyone together, then going down to the show.
Yeah.
And they're all full and like ready to laugh is nice.
Yeah. It's nice. You got a cool thing going on. You got a unique experience.
Yeah, we'll keep it going as long as we can. So.
Please do.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about buying any stocks? You've been like, Apple, that would have been great for me.
I have another app that does that.
What is
like
it?
4 stocks.
Which ones?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't fucking know.
Will you come back and we'll discuss it next time?
I could look. You want to redo my portfolio right now?
It's just something to talk about. I can't give you advice.
Have we run out of things to talk about?
Well, something about the pod. It started with the idea of, talking to comedians and musicians about money, investing, and things that don't normally talk about in retirement, etc.
After the show, I'll tell you how much money I have, and then you tell me how to double it, or you tell me how to get an apartment.
Have you heard of how to get an apartment?
Yeah, with the amount of money that I have.
That sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
New pod. How to get an apartment
with the amount of money that I have. If you had the amount of money Mike Falzone has, what could you do with it?
And
150 episodes
every week. Every week we get an update. I got a latte au grande.
Yeah,
I'm down $2.
You have a latte and a Prius.
Right.
That'll do it. See you next week.
We'll end on this. But is that your golf? Do you have a golf?
No.
Okay. Every week outside the Oyster House, there's this blue Golf, and I love it. It's like a golf station wagon.
Maybe it's one of the bartenders.
Could be, maybe, yeah. And I was like, oh, that seems like Mike's car. Because he got all the photo equipment.
I would drive. I've always driven a hatchback.
Yeah,
I had a Matrix during my music times.
Yeah.
And that was like driving a tiny minivan.
Right.
And that was fucking awesome. And now I have a Prius C, which is a tiny hatchback.
Yeah. Prius Club. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me.
It's been great, and we'll talk soon.
I hope everyone learned a lot about business.
I don't know. We learned a lot about comedy. This podcast might be evolving into a different name.
Do you have any business questions to ask me? Because I'm not a great businessman, but I am somehow kept alive by my creative endeavors, which is all I ever wanted. So I made it according to the tiny version of myself. You have any questions for somebody who made it?
Guys, Prius C lattes, I made it. Honestly, just tell me how you want to get there.
Dude, I moved out here. I'm a comedian, and I don't have to deal with winter anymore, and I have a car that I own.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I do actually have one question, and we can edit it out if you don't want to talk about it. But, so...
How much money do you have?
Write the number on this paper. Your revenue streams, can you go percentage-wise of like where they come from?
Not percentage-wise, but I can tell you where all my money comes from.
Okay.
I have a podcast with my wife that's on Patreon.
Okay.
It's like long running. We've had it almost as long as our relationship is, like 7 years, this podcast. Used to be a different name. We had to switch servers.
That's why she was so witty when I didn't know it was your wife and I was trying to do crowd work with her and she's just firing back.
Yeah, she's just helping you.
I was like...
Yeah, she's the shit. She's a good banterer.
Yeah.
And then me and my friend Steve Zaragoza have me and my wife's podcast is called Welcome to Our Podcast.
Okay, yeah,
it's
plugs.
Nice. It's just a couple sitting in our rent controlled apartment. It's been long standing. We have a bunch of segments. It's like half an hour, 45 minutes. It's a really fun weekly podcast. Me and my friend Steve have a podcast that does really well called Dynamic Banter. And ever since I was little, I've wanted to be a part of something that has like a cult following.
Okay.
And that is that. It's the weirdest. It's like two best friends laughing as hard as they possibly can for an hour every week. People animate bits. We have the greatest fan base on the planet. We make these limited edition shirts for them every couple weeks.
Yeah.
And that's been a great business plan.
There's something to be said about the pod with no guests. Like just two people every week.
Yeah. Once in a while we'll have a guest, but it's it's always a little off. There are a few people that we have back a bunch of times, but it's just like another one of our friends, like Malcolm Barrett will come in all the time. And it's mostly just us and people get so obsessed with like certain bits that we've done. And it's the most perfect fan base. I'm very thankful for those people. They come out to shows and they're fucking awesome. Then I have photography stuff, which helps me get in and stay in certain comedy rooms. And I have this skill and I love doing it. Editing photos, especially, it's just like super relaxing and I kind of like a meditation.
Yeah.
So I'll go and I'll shoot, a show the night before, and then next morning I'll chill out and I'll edit stuff and I'll send people things, and like the club or booker is real appreciative of it, and then the comedians always want good looking stuff to post on Instagram, so I'm making everybody look good with something that I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
I get money from that sometimes. And then any regular weird acting jobs that pop up that are kind of few and far between. I would love to get more into like social media consulting, but I don't really know how to start doing that rather than just tell people that you do
YouTube channel, any?
Yeah, YouTube.
Yeah.
That brings in a monthly check, which is not big.
Right.
That's gone through ups and downs, but it's something. Yeah. But my philosophy since high school has always been make a little bit of money in a million different places.
Right.
So that's kept me alive. I've had the same mentality since I was like 16 years old.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So there's a little blueprint for those of you out there doing a million different things, wanting to replicate the Mike Falzone story.
Yeah. Do a million things.
Also, don't forget, save money by getting haircuts from your wife.
Yeah.
That's $60 a month
Must
or whatever.
marry a hairdresser. That's an integral part of the process.
Right. Without that, it's the linchpin for all that. So.
You're never going to make it.
Yeah. Well, we'll have you back. This is great. This is
cool,
so
man.
fun. And come to the Oyster Bar every Monday, 9 p.m.
Yeah.
There's a Comedy Bunker show coming up November 6th.
When does this show go up?
This show goes up
before November 1st?
It'll probably go up before November 6th, yeah.
Okay, so
it'll go up November 5th.
Okay, well, we just had a really fun crowd work show in the Improv. You missed it.
Check out Mike's crowd work show. It's really fun from what I hear.
Friends and Friends crowd work show.
Friends and Friends. And it also tours, right? You guys are in Portland and other places.
Yep.
So.
I think we're going to
your
Palm
socials
Springs.
and stuff, how do people find you?
It's just Mike Falzone everywhere. It's like Calzone with an F. Instagram.
Mike Falzone, Calzone with an F. Follow him. And rate and review the pod. That's what I'm supposed to say, right? Rate and review the pod. It helps.
I think it does help to remind people of that.
Yeah, even if you're subscribing, throw a little 5 stizzies on there.
Yeah. You should say it at the beginning, too.
At the beginning? Yeah. I'll throw it at the beginning. I'll just chop this out and edit it, put it at the front. And
Copy-paste.
Copy-paste. And good night.
Good night.